This is cool.
Right. We are now at the spot where they had the Battle of Tenaroo, but to everybody it's known as the Alligator Creek. What actually happened here was the Battle of Tenaroo was on the night on the 21st of August 1942, in which Colonel Ichiki and his men were sent in or shipped in from the Truk Islands, and they landed further east of Guadalcanal. It's about 30 kilometers from here, so basically will be about how many miles?
30 is about 18 miles.
18 miles.
Man.
Past that point there. That point there is known as Collie Point, so further past that.
Uh-huh.
And what happened was there were from intelligence reports that in which the Coast Watch and the scouts were also part of it. They bring in information about this particular group that recently did dispatched on the island. So what happened was General Vandergrift did send a patrol out, but they were confronting stories that were being told that they were basically on a routine patrol, and then there were others that were saying that they were trying to find about this particular dispatch of troops. Well, they did set out, they call themselves the Brush Patrol, that they went out further up to getting near closer to Taivu Point, around an area they call it Gurabasu. That is when natives were told the Marines about the group.
Large numbers or something.
Large number of troops dispatched. So what happened was they went up, eventually they did meet up with an advance party of that particular group. Then from then on, that is when they had an attack. They got the few of the Japanese took off, but most of them died.
Most of them. Yeah, they almost annihilated the whole.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they took documents and stuff like that.
Right.
They brought it back to the CP, and that is what they did, worked out. But eventually, on the maps itself and on the details or the documents itself, it gives you basically nearly an exact positions for the belonging to the Americans. But then on, Ichiki, knowing that one part of his advance party was detected, he decided to attack earlier before the time that they were supposed to. So on the early hours on the 21st of August, that is when Marines who were stationed on the eastern bank of the Tenaroo River, or known as the Ilu River, heard metal noises and coming along the coast. So that is when they went back.
They went across the river?
They crossed the river.
Okay.
Went back to the marine lines and got ready, but they had barbed wire along the defense perimeter. And that is when they saw about, estimated over 200 Japanese crossing the sandbar, charging towards the defense perimeter. And fighting went on, as it's written in the history books. Some did swim out, trying to come back, but they were also...
So Rivers was over there somewhere?
Rivers, basically Rivers and Auschwitz will be closer to where the little coconut tree is.
Oh yeah, I see it, yeah.
Yeah, basically around that area. And they have their own episodes about that.
Yeah, they have their own, yeah. Now they had a 30 caliber, I think, didn't they? Yeah.
Right. So then the Americans brought in the light tanks. They came across the sandbar. They went up here, where there's a little coconut tree here.
Yeah, yeah.
They went through. There, around that, is basically coconut trees, coconut
plantation, and right.
So they went through there, and also it was being told that another group did the
flanked them, right,
and then attacked them.
I gotcha.
So basically, this is where it was described in the history books that soldiers were Japanese who were killed.
They were buried by the tide, and yeah.
Right, and were minced by
the canister, I think.
Yeah.
Is that this part? What's that ship up there?
Oh, that's just an old wreck. Not from the war.
Oh, I know. I thought most of them were are used for scrap.
Right.
Like on Peleliu, they took all the big stuff and they scrapped it. Yeah. This is so. Hey. So this was all American, behind American lines, then, right? So did Cheeky ever penetrate this far?
No,
Didn't?
no. They it was very strong resistance by the Americans from this end.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I just can't believe how hilly this place is.
Several times for the anniversaries here.
John Basilone, too. It was really sad about Merritt Edison. He committed suicide after the war.
heard, yeah.
After
Did he
all he
cast
did.
himself?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
After all he did, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna, and on Munda, that's where he was stationed.
Okay.
So we're gonna be diving on Munda, so that'll be cool.
Okay.
Yeah, Craig Boynton, that's another one who drank himself just about to death.
Does he come from around where you live?
I don't know where he lived. He just was pretty.
But like you say, there were a lot of them giving you calls, right?
Yeah, afterwards, yeah.
After that article came out in our paper.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, what you said is true because when they were here, it's a bit difficult for them to identify whereabouts they were. She's a lady. She helps out in the beautification. Is that in what, German? Yeah, the beautification company.
Oh, that's who did this one?
Yeah, so yeah, they came up and setting up a memorial garden. Yeah. Her father was also one of the ex-servicemen too.
Oh wow.
I believe he must be in the army.
I'll bring him behind you.
That was later built in 1943 by the American Seabees for the runway. And if you look carefully beyond the fence there, the one on the outside, not this one, the other one.
Uh-huh.
You have the original runway, but on this side of it, where the grassy part, that is where the original
That's where the original one was? Yeah,
runway
okay.
is. But they constructed it. It's about well over 2,000 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. But
So-
then the road that we drove on is the taxiway.
Oh, that was the taxiway?
That was the taxiway.
Oh.
So you have the control tower, air raid bunker. And behind that is where they have the cactus.
Oh, this was an air raid bunker right
This is
here?
an air raid bunker.
Oh. Oh, God, boy.
You don't want to go in.
No, I don't
No.
want to go in there. So this was, oh, that's amazing. They did a lot of this stuff with Japanese, what are they called? Steamrollers, I think.
Steamrollers?
Yeah, they had steamrollers that they captured from the
Yeah.
Japanese here. So this is Henderson Field. Let me get this in.
You can come back.
Yeah, at that hill right there, you mean?
Broken glasses over there. there's some trees that by itself sort of a bit
Yeah,
higher than the others.
right, I got it.
Yeah,
Two of
that-
them.
Yeah.
And right
that-
there on the left, on the other side is
Yes.
like,
But the ridge sort of runs from north to south. It doesn't go parallel with the runway.
oh, it doesn't. Okay.
No. But like I said, that whole area there was just only outposts, not very strong
Jesus.
defense.
Right.
Basically, the strong defense is
We're on
along
the other side?
along the coast.
Oh, because I thought maybe an amphibious invasion.
Yeah.
So didn't Vandergrift
Had
put
a
his
CP
yeah,
command post.
he did crazy thing or something like that, right?
I'll show you that spot. When we-
So that's the pagoda
that-
area right
yeah,
there.
that's the ridge where the pagoda was built on. When the Americans took over, they used it as the headquarters for the Guadalcanal Air Force or Cactus Air
yeah.
Force.
So that's what the Americans thought that the
Japanese
Japanese ships were zeroing in on the
also
pagoda.
that one, yeah.
Yeah.
And then also when they're doing air raids,
Uh-huh.
that is sort of like the
Oh.
marker for them. They just missed the pagoda and shell.
Right, I
the
gotcha.
airstrip, right? Henderson airstrip, and basically this underground storage is to store equipments, aviation fuel from heavy air raids that the Japanese normally had
Uh-huh.
on Henderson. So basically this is what it's been put for, right?
That's a good shot too.
Like forward operations, right?
Uh-huh.
This is where this is where the cargo stuff.
Right, right. It's where they got all the cargo for the future.
Down there behind, under those trees there.
Oh, that's where the command post was
Yeah,
right down there?
it's just like a tent. But then it was also believed that they did dug up an sort of kind of like an underground bunker.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's all collapsed now. I mean, 60 years.
Yeah,
over
I'd
60
say.
years now, right?
So
But-
this is where it was.
But this is where General Vandergrift had his command post.
Oh, this is where they moved it to?
Yes.
Oh, this is what they talk
Then
about.
after the battle on Bloody Ridge,
Uh-huh.
well, during that time, after that, they moved it down towards where the airstrip is, close to the airstrip. So basically, this is where the planning of the attack on Bloody Ridge.
And is that Alligator Creek?
No,
Oh,
that's just like a swampy area.
oh,
Alligator Creek is past those radio masts there.
Oh,
where
way
that
back
radio mast there,
Yeah.
that is where they had the Fighter One airstrip.
Oh,
or sometimes known
there.
as the cow pasture.
Okay.
That's it. That's the Fighter One airstrip.
So was this a swamp back then too?
Yes.
So this would have been
This is kind of like when during torrential rains, during rainy season,
right.
the Lunga River floods. It overflows onto
Oh, I
this
gotcha.
side. But if you look slightly back there, where those trees are, that is where the starting of the Bloody Ridge, of the ridge itself.
Mm-hmm.
The ridge itself starts from that end, coming out here onto where those coconut trees are.
So that's where the main battle
That
was,
is
right?
where the sort of like the front line. We'll go there later.
Okay.
But just to give you the
Perspective.
perspective of this whole area, what happened was, as it's written in the history books also, I normally refer back to
Yeah.
that.
That's all right.
The 1st Raider Battalion under the command of Colonel Edson and the 1st Parachute Battalion, they were stationed actually on Tulagi. They were the group that landed on Tulagi, which is in that direction there.
Yeah, okay,
You
Tulagi's
can see
over
the
there, yeah.
islands at the back there.
Uh-huh.
From there, General Vandergrift sent for them. So they brought them in, and this area, this way he gave them as the resting place. So to everybody, it was known as the resting place, not until the 12th of September,
Yeah.
the night on the 12th of September. So what happened was that intelligence information came from the local scouts that there were a group of Japanese sort of dispatched also in the eastern part of Guadalcanal. and later they found out that it was under the command of General Kawaguchi. But it was the second Ichiki echelon. The first one who came with Colonel Ichiki, that was the second one. And their main attack was Henderson. And also, apart from that, they also shipped in another group led under the command of Colonel Oka. He was supposed to attack from the western side of Guadalcanal.
On the other side, right?
On the other side. So what they were trying to do is coming in from both sides and attacking Henderson and taking it. So what happened was the march, it took them 6 days from where they landed onto where they proposed the attack. So what happened was when the provisional, they call it the provisional battalion, basically comprised of the 1st Marine Raiders and Parachute Battalion,
Right.
1st Parachute Battalion, they were shipped in. They gave them this as a resting place. But then when they had the meeting at the Central Command Post,
Right, which is over there.
which is where those trees are, and there are a few coconut trees at the back there. That is when they had a meeting, and Colonel Edson himself was looking at the map and saying, if I am that particular Japanese commander, I'll attack from this spot. Eventually, it was a coincidence that they did attack that
exact same spot,
exact
yeah.
same spot. So what happened was General Vandergriff gave him the orders in putting a defense perimeter, because like I said earlier on, that this area was actually not heavily defended. It was only an outpost, marine outpost around this area. So if you look carefully back there where those bridges are, they're outposts. And also there's one particular one, they call it Briggs Outpost, which is way back. You see the tree sticking out? And behind it.
Oh, it's behind that? Yeah, I see it.
So on the night of the 12th, Briggs Outpost men did heard that they did heard voices coming in between this ridge, between Bloody Ridge and Briggs Outpost, and they knew exactly it was the Japanese force coming through at night time. But already the provisional battalion were dug in, because at that time they had those single engine planes. Americans nicknamed it Louis